Hello world, hope you're doing all right. This week I want to discuss this pattern here. It is a very interesting, um, almost like a bustier shaping going on here, but if you look closely, it's done with darts across the bust span on the side here, and then the normal like torso fisheye dart. So I want to show you how I would go about making this. And I started with our regular what was it, the contour torso foundation. And so I've got all of these slices for the bust area. I have my widened, my bigger dart that I've used before. Um, Here is the back pattern that's similar. I've already cut apart a lot of it just to save time for all of that. What I've done up here on the bodice front is I've drawn this guideline for the sweetheart shape going to the armhole, because if you look, it looks about 2 inches above where the dart is, and I think that's probably a good place for that to end. Same thing here in the center. It's probably about 2 inches, so I sort of, I guessed. Um, and so that's what this line is about here. And then because this is the contour bodice, I rotated and closed some of this excess here to make sure that the bodice, or the bodice would fit better across the bust line. So for now, most of this can go away. So what I'm going to do is just remove some of these pieces, just like that. I want to keep at least these two somewhere handy. Not that one, that one's fine. Because I want to make sure I get the correct measurement for the shoulder strap. But otherwise, all of this, I'm actually going to delete all of these extra pieces that I know I don't need. And then even through here, I think these can go. Usually I would need to accommodate for the probably about 3/8 of an inch, almost a half inch of excess here. But because this one doesn't use panels like a normal contour bodice, I think it's just best to ignore them. The fit's not going to be perfect, but that's just kind of how the style dictates. So we're just going to get rid of all of these extra points and lines, and those are gone. And then this guy too, actually, I just delete that. I can reattach from here to there, and then subtract that anchor so that there's fewer anchors, so we have less to worry about. All right, so there's that. That's pretty much almost done as it is. What I'm going to do, this is something that's very important, I think, for all things with darts. Let's draw an ellipse, a circle, at the bust point that is about 5/8 of an inch. Oops, I did that wrong. Let's delete that. Let's try again. Because if you don't move your dart points about 0.5, or about 5/8 of an inch away from the bust point, you get the bullet bra high beams effect. And some people want that, that's fine, whatever, but it's a lot more elegant looking, I would say. Oops, not the circle. To shift these dart points down and away from that bust area. And so it makes it a lot shallower for these, but this way you're not going to have a point right on the bust apex. So that helps avoid some awkwardness there. So we can get rid of that circle because it was just a guideline. And now I'm going to, my favorite thing, click and drag and join all of these bust points, just to make sure that our pattern pieces will stay solid. I'm pretty sure I need to do one up here as well. This is all connected, and that's connected, so we're looking good there. Okay, and then so for this part, again, I guessed, I do that a whole lot, but this, it dips below the waistline. I'm going to go with about 4 inches, and then it looks like it dips below the waistline, even on the hip here, about an inch. So that's what I drew down here, and that's 4 inches from here down, curving up through the dart, and an inch down from here. What I'm going to need to do eventually is walk these pieces, which is going to be a challenge, but I want to make sure that this dart matches, and I know that it's not going to already because this is so much longer than this one. But if I do Control-C, Control-V on just this portion here, I get this line. We're going to scoot it and match it here, and then rotate it so that it matches the bottom of the dart leg. And that's a big difference, but it's going to need to be that or else this won't work. So we're going to do, actually Control-Z, undo that. I want to make sure that this corner comes straight down to match there. Okay, so this can go away. That was our little guideline from over here. And now this can match up here. And click, drag, and join. And click, drag, and join in our corner. Okay, so that's pretty good. It turned pink because the bottom lines I drew here were pink, but no big deal. And almost that front pattern piece is done. Yeah, basically, I mean, behind this, you would have to have like a bustier with that contour cup shaping and some plastic boning, etc., to make sure that it, stays up where it needs to. But for the most part, the shell shaping is achieved through a bust span dart, a side bust dart, and then this fisheye contour dart here. So now I move on to the skirt, which is pretty wild. But if you look on her skirt, it is just a super flare panel skirt. So I've done this before, and I super love doing this. We're going to take, this is our skirt pattern. I'm going to zoom in. It looked like my dart was in the wrong place, but I don't think it is. We're going to cut through the dart here, and scroll down forever. If you hit shift, you can scroll faster, and cut through that there. And so I will have to do my favorite skirt circle to make this work. But to start, now at least we have our panels for that. So once we get to the skirt circle, I will shape those, but that's pretty much it. So if you wanted to do a pencil skirt version of this, this dress here, that's it for the front. I'm going to add so much flare that it's going to be ridiculous, which is great. And then these are our, let's measure these actually. I'm going to measure this line because that's the center of the shoulder, and then this line from here to figure out what our lengths are. Let's do Control-C, Control-V, and then the thing that you can't see if you do window, document info, and then in the document info you have to select objects. And so this shows me I've got one path that is 5.68, and then this one is 5.86. That's funny. Okay, so for this rectangle here, let's do a width of, I want to give that probably a lot because it's fairly gathered there. And it looks to be about 3 inches. So let's give it triple. We're going to make it 9 inches wide by 5.75. No, not 2.7. 5.75. And that gives us this very large rectangle, which we would gather in here, and then it would go over the shoulder. So I'm going to get rid of these extra bits here, and then we will come back and figure this out with the back. All right, since we can't see the back, I'm going to assume that it is a similar shape that just sort of goes around, kind of like a bustier. So we don't need any of this upper portion here. This is my torso contour back pattern, so that's why this dart is super huge. But we don't need it, which is brilliant. So I'm going to just delete all of these parts. I've already cut them all apart, which I do with the adding anchor points and subtracting and cutting So there are two back panels. I know for a fact that these are not going to match because this is slightly taller than that. So, like I did before, I am going to direct select, Control C, Control V, grab this, I'm going to put this here, rotate from this anchor point, and it's only barely a different length, but let's make it pink so we can see it. See how it's just a hair longer. I'm just going to take this corner and scooch it up, and then find our pink line, delete it, bye-bye. And now this panel should match this panel better. So we're going to click, drag, and join that so the pieces are together. Click, drag, and join that. Pieces are together now. Same thing here, all of these corners. Okay, and then we have to do the same thing down here for our back skirt pieces. And this is going to turn the whole thing pink, probably. Nope, turned it black. Sometimes it turns it pink, sometimes it doesn't. Click, drag, and join. Click, drag, and join. Boom. Okay, so that's all intents and purposes, that's done. Let's get this going as well. And get a guideline so I can figure out where to snip apart my skirt. Right there. We're going to cut this here, cut through the dart here. And now I'm going to separate my skirt panels so I can, excuse me, so I can make them into solid pattern pieces so I can do the skirt my favorite way. Click, drag, join, click, drag, join. Use my pen tool. Make sure you get the minus on the anchor there. Scroll down, make sure you get the circle or the square, depends, I don't remember. And now that's connected. Same thing here. Subtract, or not subtract. Pen tool has the little minus, and then this has the little square boxy thing. And then I'll make sure I click, drag, and join here on this corner. Click, drag, and join there on that corner. Okay, so now we have this pattern as though it were going to be a pencil skirt with panels, and I just realized that I deleted the upper portion of this to get the strap length. So I will have to figure that out. But I think if I go through some of my old layers, I can find the contour block. There we go. It's just about in the same place, but this is going to make me nervous, but I don't want to lose anything. So I'm going to get this, grab this pattern, copy it, lock the layer again, unlock the layer I was working on. I'm going to paste it, and we're going to pop this here. And so for this, I want to measure here. And how I'm going to do that is with the measure tool and going from my contour shoulder point to the space between where my guidelines are here. We get about, what do we get? 8 and 8 3/4. So we're going to do the same thing. We'll draw another box that is 9 inches wide and 8.75 long, which is odd. It's a very odd shape, but bear with me, it'll make sense eventually. All right, so now we can get rid of the rest of that contour bodice pattern that I didn't need. And now I'm going to rejoin a lot of my pieces. Not completely, like I'm not gonna, like click and drag and join these things. I'm just gonna scoot them because the easiest way for me to get my skirt, my giant circle skirt shaping, is if these are all still connected, at least somewhat. And this front panel, front pattern is going to be interesting. Not quite sure how that's going to work, but we'll find out. You know, and I should have drawn my giant circle skirt of doom before I did this, but we'll do this again. So we need a circle ellipse that is 7.95 by 7.95. That gives us a circumference of 25-ish, which I think is my waistline circumference. Let's, we can't see pink on gray as well. Let's give it neon yellow, greenish, which is easier to see. And actually, if I just make the stroke a little thicker, you'll be able to see better. Okay, and now I'm gonna do that again. but then add 48. So my skirt length is 24 inches long from the waist down. And so if I make this the waistline plus 48, then I'll get 24 inches on either side of the waist to work with. So scoot this way over. Thank you for, there we go. I need to get rid of these guides. I locked them because usually when I don't lock them, it's hard to like click, drag, and join things together. But in this case, well, now I don't need them, so I'm just going to clear them. But I do need them for other parts. So let's grab one and put it in the middle of this circle here, and the middle of the circle there. Boom. And now we do my favorite waistline circle skirt thingy. So we're going to match the waistline anchor there and rotate this like that. And then I'm going to leave this part of the skirt here. I'm going to deselect that lower front portion. And then this is really challenging. Okay, so let's put a guide on this anchor here and on this anchor here. And then move this anchor to this point, because that's where it would close when the dart is closed. And then rotate this pattern up to there. Precisely. Okay, good. Now we're going to leave those pieces alone. I have kind of too many guides, but if I do this, nope. I need smart guides. Smart guides are important, but I need to unlock them for a second so I can get rid of that one and that one, and then I'm going to go back under View, Guides, and relock them so that they don't get in my way. Anyway, let's make sure that these stroke lines are visible. Make them all green. Yep, that's better. All right, same thing with the back. Our back pieces are separate, so I don't have to walk them together like I did the front pieces, which was awkward. But we're going to match that to there. Our favorite rotate. And match to the waistline circle. Grab this one here. This is our center back. Same idea. I'm going to zoom in to see it. Okay, matching it to the anchor there. Rotating along that to give us, where is it? There, okay. So, just for the sake of continuity, or being able to see things, or both. There we go. All right. And so it was pretty close, I guessed, on the length of the skirt pieces before, and now I can actually see what's happening. So I am just going to use my direct select tool to grab these and pull them down. Oops, not on the big circle. I almost wish I could lock the circle. I'm sure I could figure that out, but not right now. If we look at the skirt, okay, so I can't add too much flare to the center front because it's cut on fold, but I can make sure that it is very flared from here over. I'm going to split the difference and just give it about to there-ish. Give me that. And then pull this way out to here. It's not going to be super fluffy, but maybe I can add some more. Maybe I could add a little more flare to the front panel there. I will look at that here in a moment. Make sure that these look good. This always gets awkward because of the hip curve that's there. But for flared things like this, where it doesn't have to fit over the hips, I just subtract it. Gonzo. Just like a paneled circle skirt. Same idea. This anchor can go away on the back hip area. And I'm going to add lots of flare to the back. want this to be super big. Actually, if I wanted this to be super, super big, I would probably find a way to make the full circumference of the hem of like 2 circles. Whoops, don't do that. Um, so like a double full circle skirt would be an intensely large dress, which is what this sort of looks like. I think because I want this to be a straight line, put a guide there and then just scoot this anchor over. That makes me happier. Now I do Shift C, get our curves going to match the skirt or the circle as best I can. Dum-de-dum. I could even very easily make this high-low if I wanted to. I don't really feel like it. Let's see. This we don't need either. That's another part of the dart. We don't need that either. The old dart from the 2 pieces. So we're just gonna subtract those because these just need to be very large flares. I'm even going to take this anchor handle and straighten it out. Get more of a corner there, which is perfect. I want a corner. That looks pretty good already. And I think I feel like this will work. Let's grab this, and we're just gonna make this a crazy. Yeah, I think that's still cut on fold. It's gonna work. It's gonna change the. Is it gonna change the shape of that? I'm not really sure. Someday, I will get access to a large scale plotter printer again, and I'll be able to figure some of these things out. These skirt panels still had darts, which they don't need at this point. There is no dart shaping below the waist or below the this portion, the pointy thing. So I think we're good. Yeah, so this is going to be a really odd skirt front, but I think it's going to work. All right, let's get rid of our giant circle skirt. And then I would like to remove my guides. I'm just going to clear them because I'm going to add new guides back over here. Put a guide here in the front, and we'll start realigning our pieces. The only thing that dictates the width of, ooh, see, that's going to be real funky. But you know what? It's pointed anyway, so it was going to be funky to begin with, and now it's just even funkier. Oops. Looks like one of my pieces was not quite connected. Let's do that before I rotate stuff. Click, drag, and join. Let's zoom back in so you can see it. Click, drag, and join. Okay. So yeah, the only thing that dictates how flared this skirt could possibly be is the width of the fabric. And I know that this does not look like it'll fit, but because this is the same length, if we walk it and rotate it like that, although that's going to add a flare cone to the center of the front. I don't know if I like that, but not a big deal. So we'll just put that back where it was. Okay, now I need this, which is the side. And I'm going to walk it again just so I can get it positioned where it was. Yeah, these are going to be some huge skirt pieces, which is fine. Let's throw a guide in the back and start walking these again. Let's grab all of them at once. And I want this anchor to match there, somewhere on that line. Rotate from there to get my center back. Perf. Scoot this up. And then with the regular select tool, so the V key or this guy here, I just shift unselected. And now I'm going to rotate this guy so that he's more straight up and downish. Yeah, good enough. Nudge it apart. And then, oops, I'm going to nudge these guys up. So we've got our what looks like a circle skirt pattern here, cut into pieces that fit along this line. Got our funky bodice front, and then these are our shoulder strap patterns, which I don't know if I like how that all worked out, but whatever. What I probably would do, now that I know that they are about the same, I'm going to line them up here. I'm just going to rotate this, but I am going to leave that line in the middle there just so I can see. Let's move the drawing over here for now. So that I know that this is the front, that's where the shoulder line is, this is the back. And then as far as attaching, this looks like it goes from bust point over. So we can just make a mark. Well, there's already an anchor there, so that'll work just fine. We'll just gather, from there. Sometimes when I'm trying to make match points in my patterns, I'll do 3 anchor points really close together, and then I'll pull this down. Oops, not that. Zoom way in, find that center point, and make it a little corner, just so it's like a notch, like a store-bought pattern. And that way I know, gather from here to there for the shoulder strap. All right, so I think, for the most part, this is all done. So we're going to grab all of our pattern pieces, object path, offset path. I always do a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Let's preview it. Yep, looks like all my, nope, just the back one. That one's not right. All right, let's figure out what happened here. Something is not connected in this pattern. Okay, click, drag, and join. Not that one. Click, drag, and join. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. But that one, of course, it was the very last one I looked at. Okay, let's try that again. Grab all of these, make them black so you can see what I'm doing. Again, object path, offset path, 1/2 inch preview, brilliant. Click OK. I'm just going to select all of each one and group, Control G. These are the ones I'm happy with, so I'm going to keep doing that for all of these pieces. The one that I want to change is this. So usually, this is the hard part, is I don't know how to complete darts just by looking at them, but you need excess dart cap or else it won't fit within your seam allowance correctly. So I'm just sort of dragging these along the lines that are here, adding a little bit of bow. This one adds a lot more because of how this is shaped. And then this funky triangle diamondy thing can just go away. Bye-bye. What I think I would do for this, this excess that's here, gosh, that's going to be really awkward. I don't know why it had to go so far over. We'll just leave it like that. Just a little bit of that extra there. And then this one can be grouped, and we are good to go. So this dress would definitely call for a contoured bustier underneath it with a lot of boning, maybe a waist stay, which is just like a piece of twill tape across the waist area to keep things cinched in where they need to be. Having that inner layer would also help with attaching this gathered rectangle, basically, which is all that is to make your shoulder straps there. Yeah, and so I'd base this off of the drawing back here, so it's cuter and shorter, but easily done in a very long maxi skirt, evening gown kind of thing. So yeah, there it is. If you like this video, hit that subscribe button, give me a like, and send me your suggestions for next week. I think I'm gonna start like figuring out how to make these patterns available for sale on my Etsy store, which is under, what's that called? Tyler's Fibers is the name. So I think I'm going to try to sell these. I'm going to have to do some walking to make sure that all of these things match first, but otherwise, I think I'm going to start selling my patterns. So check out my store if you want to. I will throw a link somewhere, maybe in the description of this video. That would make sense. And thanks for watching.